Obi-Wan knew about the destruction of Alderaan before it even happened. Hello there, how you doing? And I'm sure you demand proof, so I'm just gonna go straight in. You know that scene from Mos Eisley Cantina, where we're first introduced to Han Solo, R.I.P., and he offers to take Luke and Obi-Wan to Alderaan for 10,000. What's the currency on Tatooine? I have no idea. Galactic credits? Yeah, I'm gonna say that. They had to pay 10,000 galactic credits up front, but Obi-Wan rejects and offers to pay 2,000 up front and 15,000 when they reach Alderaan. Now, either Obi-Wan is a terrible, and I mean horrific, negotiator, like he literally offered to pay 7,000 more than the asking price, or Obi-Wan knew something Han didn't, like the fact Alderaan was about to cease to exist. Don't worry, I'll get to that. Anyway, we know he isn't a terrible negotiator because, well, he negotiated his way past the stormtroopers earlier on in the film. Well, he used a Jedi mind trick, if that counts. You will like this video. Why didn't he just use a Jedi mind trick on Han Solo? I guess Han Solo isn't weak-minded and Obi-Wan realised that money would be more persuasive to him than the Force would. But anyway, before I got sidetracked, I was asking why Obi-Wan offered, and I put emphasis on offered, to pay 7,000 more than Han Solo was asking for. Like, he didn't even have the funds to pay the upfront 2,000. He makes Luke sell his speeder to fund it.
You'll have to sell your speeder.
And this doesn't add up, unless you consider Obi-Wan knew that Alderaan was about to get destroyed.
We can pay you 2,000 now, plus 15 when we reach Alderaan.
You see, Obi-Wan doesn't have to fork over the 15,000 until they reach Alderaan, which they never did. Meaning Obi-Wan, who was dead, of course, or should I just say more powerful than we could ever imagine, never had to pay Han. However, I'm proposing that Obi-Wan knew they were never going to reach Alderaan and knew that he would never have to pay Han Solo that 15,000 because he foresaw the destruction of Alderaan. Since such a huge tremor in the Force should be felt by a Jedi as powerful as Obi-Wan is, right? And of course this would explain why he offered such a huge sum of money to get them to Alderaan, because he knew it wasn't possible. And seeing into the future is definitely something Jedis are known to do. There is literally a reference to a Force user foreseeing something in every other Star Wars film other than this one. Unless George Lucas subtly made Obi-Wan foresee the destruction of Alderaan off screen. Anyway, so if you're on board that Obi-Wan foresaw the destruction of Alderaan, and if you're not, don't worry, I've got more evidence, I'm just expanding upon it a bit first. And this all really nicely ties in with the theory by Reddit user Cabbage Island, link in the description, I am going to go for it though, that Luke was used as bait for Vader. Okay, I know this is kind of like a theory inside a theory, but it all kind of links up in the end. Quite nicely, actually. So, this theory states that the twins Luke and Leia, who were supposedly sent away to protect them. However, Anakin didn't know that Padme was having twins, but he didn't know she was pregnant. And if he did suspect a child was born, he would have probably seeked that child out. At any rate, Yoda and Obi-Wan did feel the twins needed to be protected. But where did they send Luke to protect him? They send him to Vader's home planet, essentially the neighbourhood he grew up in. In fact, they sent him to Vader's mum's house to go live with Vader's stepbrother. Not only that, but he kept the name Skywalker. Meanwhile, Leia was sent to go live on Alderaan, a planet with no connection to Anakin, and her name was changed completely. She was raised by royalty and eventually became a very important figure in the rebellion against the Empire. And I know there is a complete opposite theory opposing this, that states because of his past, Vader could never go back to Alderaan, so it would be the last place he would ever look. However, this doesn't explain why they didn't change Luke's name. Like, why didn't they call him Luke Lars? Calling him Luke Skywalker is literally telling Anakin that that's his son. But regardless, to Vader's knowledge, his offspring hadn't survived. So the theory is that Luke was basically dangled in front of Vader like live bait. If Vader captured Luke, he would assume all his offspring were accounted for and stop searching for good. And that would leave Leia completely free from being hunted and to continue her important role in the rebellion. And maybe even to be trained in the ways of the Force by Yoda eventually. But, of course, Vader never searched for Luke, meaning Luke was safe too. Which meant that when Obi-Wan had the vision that Alderaan was destroyed, he probably assumed Leia had been killed too. And it seems to be a pretty safe assumption because why would you assume anything else? She lived on Alderaan, and even in the message she sent to him, that was to bring him to Alderaan. So, to Obi-Wan's knowledge, she's on Alderaan, and she died with everyone else on Alderaan. Which would have meant, to Obi-Wan's knowledge, Luke was the Jedi's last hope. Which explains why he waited until then to appear to Luke and persuade him to learn the ways of the Force. And this also explains why, in The Empire Strikes Back, Obi-Wan says,
"That boy is our last hope."
This scene always bugged me because he was literally there for Leia's birth. But he's completely forgotten about her existence here. But this theory actually explains why Obi-Wan thought that Luke was the Jedi's last hope. However, he learns, of course, that Leia is still alive and tells Luke that she's his sister in Return of the Jedi. And for those of you thinking, there's no way Obi-Wan knew about the attack on Alderaan. Look how shocked he was when it happened.
I felt a great disturbance in the Force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced. I fear something terrible has happened.
And yes, while it is true that Obi-Wan was shocked and upset, that is a very natural response to such an event, and doesn't necessarily mean he didn't know it was going to happen. It's like when you're taking some time off school or work to go on holiday. The fact that you're on holiday sometimes doesn't sink in until a couple days into the holiday. You know what I mean? And anyway, I have reason to believe that Obi-Wan would have probably avoided this vision from the future, because you know what Yoda said about seeing the future.
Always in motion is the future.
So, does this mean that Obi-Wan isn't the good guy he's made out to be? He set Luke up as bait for Vader, and he foresaw the attack on Alderaan and didn't try to prevent it. Unless, of course, you disagree with me. And then I'm sure you'll leave a gracious comment telling me why. Honestly, I just wanted to make another Star Wars video, so I'd have an excuse to wear this t-shirt in a video again. Oh, by the way, if the lighting's terrible in this video, I'm sorry. I bought lighting yesterday, so next Thursday, there should be amazing lighting for my video. Anyway, that was my first ever Star Wars theory, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like and subscribe here, and watch another video here. And until next time, may the Force be with you. Oh god, that is such a cliche ending to a Star Wars themed video.